What's your name?
My name is Cardi Cornish.
And you a legend?
I'm a legend.
You're a legend here in Baltimore City. Where we at right now?
We live in the 17, Pennsylvania Avenue. The legendary Pennsylvania Avenue.
Man, the last time I saw you here, you were doing something just across the street here. What were you doing?
Oh yeah, I had some food left over from an event. We brung it out and fed a couple of people, man.
Why you do that?
Nice soul food.
Why you do that?
Man, the love that God has shown me in Christ, man, it overflows. That's how it overflows.
Yes, sir.
We got more than we can use.
Already was high within San Antonio, Winchester community, but the age group is getting younger. Children under the age of 18 being murdered in San Antonio has a high peak right now. So our goal is to catch the children.
You're going hard, man. You're going hard on that man today.
So what do you think, Mr. Mayor? You got manufacturing right here, helping our young people despite all of the challenges in the city of Baltimore, right here on North Avenue.
No, it's really about the growth. Just knowing where, being there when they were down in Port Covington and seeing how far it's grown. Like you said earlier, like getting the Sorbet, you know, where we got the Sorbet at the beginning, but now being able to, when I'm at Cannon Yards, get it, or anytime I'm down at Harbor Place to get it, and folks to not even know, but they gonna know now that like this is coming from young people in West Baltimore, right there in West Baltimore on North Avenue, where they think nothing great comes from, but they can see it in what the young people do.
Here on the bank of Mississippi, down right there, French Lord Mathis. A beautiful town, just leaving Algiers, which is an update 10 years since Katrina. The news. All right, y'all, this is what I came to New York for. Besides the Black Wall Street Awards, we're going ahead and get some of this real good jerk chicken. Johnny Glover, out.
I feel the warmth of your skin, just the touch of your hand makes me tremble within.
But we need to feed our loved ones. DOTS needs to rescind this package policy program so that our loved ones are able to eat every day in that filthy facility that
we have some stars in the building.
We'd like to welcome you to blackusa.news. First name's Donnie, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. Gentlemen, Doug Blackshear from Oakland, California. I guess it's good afternoon to you. Also, we have Courtly C.D. Witherspoon here in Baltimore. Good evening, sir. Oh, you're muted. You got to unmute yourself.
Good evening, Donnie. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
I should say Reverend C.D. Witherspoon. Forgive me.
Bless you, sir.
U.S. intelligence officials recently briefed Donald Trump's campaign about new indications that Iran was planning to escalate attacks. But the big news is that there was an assassination attempt. FBI said Sunday it is investigating what appears to be an attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. A person has been taken into custody. Let's start with the elder on the show. What do you think there, Doug Blackshear? Oh, you're muted also, Doug.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah.
First off, nice to meet you, Mr. Courtly.
Nice meeting you as well, sir.
If you're working with Donnie Glover, I'm sure you're one of the best on the East.
Yes, sir.
Bless you, sir.
Now, ask me the question again, because let me tell you something. What is going on here with this issue, especially with the Republicans and billionaires funding him? It's through any means necessary now to get Donald Trump into office, such that the trajectory of his political policies will terribly impact business opportunities, specifically for Black Americans. And let's just keep it 100. White people see Kamala Harris almost as the second coming of Barack Obama. We don't know if she gets elected. We don't know who they're going to put in. They might put a Ku Klux Klan in there, because white America, and not all white America, some of my best friends are white. I love saying that. But there is a political war going on with the 52% of white Americans thinking that we have stolen their country and they will do any means necessary to get it back. Because you cannot win an election if you don't have at least half of America believing in you.
So the FBI is investigating. They have taken a person into custody. The afternoon incident at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach, Florida, comes 2 months, and I'm reading from CNN, comes 2 months after an assassination attempt against the former president at a Butler, Pennsylvania rally that sparked scrutiny of the U.S. Secret Service. Your thoughts, C.D. Witherspoon?
Thank you so much. I just really think, when I think about this situation and the situation that transpired about a month ago, I'm thinking about George Wallace in 1972, the assassination attempt on his life when he was running for president of the United States. I think that what we're dealing with is we're dealing with a person who subscribes to the politics of divisiveness and hate. And as a result of his politics, I think that it is creating an environment that's conducive to the type of political reaction that would create a situation where a political candidate would be an attempt assassination on a political candidate's life. Trump is one in a million in relationship to his politics, his positions, things of that particular nature. And I think that his politics creates an environment that's conducive to the type of situations that we're currently experiencing in this country. But I subscribe, I reflect on the assassination attempt of George Wallace in 1972 when I think of the situation that's transpired not once but twice. It is not every day, even though the political discourse in this country can be so that it can become divisive, it can become contentious. But this type of political situation does not happen every day when political candidates, people are attempting to assassinate them on the national stage. I think that it's Trump's politics that creates such an environment that's conducive to what we have experienced in relationship to him.
Gentlemen, we welcome to the platform Mr. Robert Scott, my Morehouse brother. He is in Atlanta, Georgia. Robert, a Secret Service agent, spotted a rifle barrel with the scope sticking out of the fence and engaged with the person. The person who was later taken into custody was 300 to 500 yards away from Trump, an official said. Quote, "We are able to catch a witness that came to us and said, 'Hey, I saw the guy running out of the bushes. He jumped into a black Nissan, and I took a picture of the vehicle and the tag, which was great. Authorities alerted the Martin County Sheriff's Office, which detained the person. The witness was able to then identify the man, who has not been named. A long gun has been recovered, according to the law enforcement source.'" Robert, any thoughts on this second Trump assassination attempt?
I was just listening to the brother speak right before, right when I jumped on, and I agree with him totally. Trump brings this on himself. I mean, he brings that climate, there, and you got to look at it this way. I look at it this way. They're through with him. I mean, he's done with it, what they needed him to do. He's got the Confederate era judges in place. They moved on Roe versus Wade. They positioned themselves to implement 2025, and they don't need him anymore. And right now, he's having these cognitive deficiencies. I really think if anything ever happens to him, it won't be a Democrat. It won't be one of us. I think it's going to be one of them. The first time it was. It's just my opinion.
Project 2025. Do we know enough about it? Are we discussing it enough? I mean, after all, there was a Project 2024, 2023. It's not new, but it has certainly caught the attention of people across the country, including celebrities like Taraji P. Henson.
That 2025 is powerful. I don't know if you've read pieces of it, but they really are out of their minds. They're trying to do things like in the Department of Education, and I don't know what they're going to replace it with, but some of the things that they're trying to do, they're trying to really position Trump to have an autocracy. And the people that are doing it, they're not your everyday Republicans of the past, your Romneys of the past. That's this sick group of Republicans that started to come in way back when they had the Tea Party. And as the Tea Party folks started coming in, it got crazier and crazier. Now I'm here in Georgia. It doesn't get any crazier than Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now Marjorie Taylor Greene's upset because they got a nut crazier than her, following the president around and injecting into the president's brain more, what we'll call it, conspiracy theories.
CD, do you think that someone will try until they succeed in assassinating him? I mean, is he a marked man, Donald J. Trump?
I think he is. The other piece of it is, I will say too, is that because of his politics and because of the type of environment that his politics breeds, we really don't know, I think, what's valid, what's legitimate, and what is an authentic assassination attempt. I think that certainly what we are experiencing are attempts, but I think that he is so desperate politically. I think that there may be times as well that he may manufacture things that might create an environment that looks like he is a target to get sympathy. He's such a dishonest individual. It's difficult to be able to assess what's happening here. So I think that the American people have to subscribe to the politics of their consciousness and the politics of their grandparents, that authentic stuff that, you know, that has gotten us through the American Civil Rights Movement, that got us through the transatlantic slave trade. We have to subscribe to the type of politics that kept us as a people, Reconstruction, throughout the course of our existence, because we are dealing with a person who is dishonest, whose politics are untrustworthy, who subscribes to the politics of hate. And I'm not suggesting that he would make up something, but I think that certain things could in fact be manufactured. So we have to have some instinct here, and we have to be intuitive, and we have to dig deep when we're dealing with the politics of one Donald J. Trump.
Doug, what are they saying out there in California about Donald J. Trump? Do you see his signs?
I want to just say this. I attended a fundraiser with Honorable Adam Schiff and also with Barbara Lee about 2 weekends ago. And in their campaign form and in their fundraiser form, I got two things that will piggyback off these two gentlemen has said and is saying. This man, through any means necessary, is fighting to get back into the White House. we know that we got quite a few house niggas running around here who supporting that rhetoric. Now, Courtly and Robert, Donnie, no, I'm gonna come at you 100. Yeah, we got some house niggas and we got some gatekeepers who are house nigga gatekeepers, and that could be a man or a woman. What Adam Schiff and what Barbara Lee said at that fundraiser is we're in DEFCON 1. We better get our people, and I say our people because the Asians watch out for the Asians. The Mexicans watch out for the Mexicans. The Chinese and Japanese watch out for each other. The Indians watch out. We don't watch out for each other. This country spends $1.5 trillion economically in the United States of America. And what politicians are trying to do is get us to see that we're going to be affected most if Donald J. Trump gets into office. His politics are consistent with racist white people, house niggas trying to keep their little position in the roof or in the basement of the master's house. And more importantly, Barbara Lee said that we have got to start pushing our people to get out there and truly vote, because our vote's going to make a difference this election. Our vote is going to, California sold up democratically, as you guys all know. We the north up near Oregon, that's kind of iffy. You know, I was up there last year and all you saw was Donald Trump signs. But I truly believe, and it's been discussed in my political circle because I'm a California delegate, that this man is perpetrating these supposedly hits on him. And he can't get any kind of media attention because VP Kamala Harris is sucking it all up in the room.
Absolutely.
She is, I mean, every time I get out here in the Bay Area, in the county, we had a candidate forum yesterday regarding candidates running in November. Kamala Harris is sucking the air out of the room. Donald J. Trump can't get a bite of that. So now he's falsely attempting to kill himself, because if they wanted to kill him, he'd be dead.
Absolutely.
You're suggesting that this was a hoax?
I'm not suggesting. If I were betting in Reno, I would put $100 against a $10 that at least one of these attempts was fabricated. Because if you look at it, let's look at the big picture here. They could have taken out Barack Obama, and they're probably going to be looking to take out Kamala Harris. Black people rarely do assassination. Rarely. That's a white person thing. And they're good at it. Very good at it. So and I guarantee you, Trump got some of the best people watching his back. So Trump said, well, God dang. And his dumb advisors, unintelligent, ignorant advisors, okay, this our last tip. We only got 50 days left. How are we going to get you that media attention that's going to keep your name out there? Because at the DC party in Chicago, when you get white women, when you get people like Taylor Swift coming out in support of this black sister, he knows he's in trouble.
Robert Scott, you agree?
I agree. But, you know, I look at it a little deeply. Someone sent me a video today, and it was actually from a podcast, and it was a white minister, a young guy going into seminary, and he was addressing the issue on white Christian nationalism. And he felt that we weren't going to be able to move forward as a country until that issue on white Christian nationalism was addressed. And one of the problems we have in this country is that so many black people are afraid to even address the issue, acknowledge the issue. So it's so good for me to see this white man even give it definition and actually talk about it. You know, when we really sit back and look at that whole white Christian nationalism thing, it takes white nationalism and puts it all together, it being all one. And it's something that we as a country really have to deal with, because if you think about it, really sit down and think about it. Roe versus Wade, what is that all about? What is the whole abortion situation all about? When you look at white Christian nationalism, I don't know how you guys define it. If you need me to define it, it's basically,
Please do.
it's white supremacy in essence. It's adhering to Jesus being white and everyone in the Bible being white and everything about the Bible being of people of European descent. And now you have folks acknowledging it on both sides. We've been living in under these circumstances for the last 400 years. White Christian nationalism. When you hear black people speak of Jesus being a black man, that was the original woke. That's what we were talking about when we said woke. They're talking all this wokeism. Wokeism is directly attached to white Christian nationalism. The fact that we see it in a different way. And we see it in a different way, not because we actually know the true opposite. We just know it's a little different. We look at what we see in those scriptures and all. And then we have these black historians that bring information, to light. And we realize that something's a little different. Our people don't really realize that you got Coptic Christianity and you have what we'll call Euro Christianity, based on the Roman Catholic Church or the original white Christian church, which is the Greek Orthodox Church. That was the one that was started at year zero. What we call year zero, BCE being beyond the common era, not before Christ, doesn't mean that. AD was started the day that they started the Greek Orthodox Church. And the Roman Catholic Church was started in 442 AD, 42 years later. Before all of that, the Coptic Church existed. And that's the Coptic Church that still exists to this day, still has a papal, still has the Pope system. And that's the Coptic Church of Ethiopia and Egypt. And there's a big difference. They never saw a white Jesus. All those pictures that we see over the internet, that comes from the Coptic Church. That's what Ethiopians see. That's what Egyptians see. People from North Africa see. They don't even understand, why we see what we see, but we see what we see because of slavery. That narrative was pushed on us. Now we're pushing back on that narrative and we're being called woke. That's what the whole woke thing is about. Now look at things. Look at this. There's 740.
I want you to tie this in. We are talking about the assassination.
The assassination, I tie the assassination into, we don't really need to get tied up into all of that stuff, because a lot of it doesn't really have anything to do with us per se. We're supporting Kamala. Kamala is supporting us. What's happening to Trump, I think Trump's bringing it on himself, plus the Republican Party is through with him. There's nothing else he can do for them but hurt them. He's lost how many elections? He's lost their down party elections for him, and he's not helping them now. There's nothing to do with Trump. They should have replaced him before they replaced Biden. Now they're seeing the cognitive issues.
Come on in, Doug. You want to make a comment?
Well, and as Courtney knows, and as Robert knows, and you definitely know, let's keep it 100 when we talk about white folk. and specifically
Please.
white men. The way you can get a white man to go against another white man is you had that other white man stealing the other white man money. Trump has put his people in charge of the RNC, Republican National Treasure Chest.
Laura, his daughter-in-law.
Right.
Republican National Convention.
I can guarantee you on a dollar against a penny that he robbing their ass blind. Excuse me for cursing, but when you mess with a white man, you can kill his dog, you can take his wife, you can even probably take his daughter and son. But you dig in a white man's pocket, oh no, you got to go. And we on this stage can, without a question, not a shadow of a doubt, know that Trump pimping and punking them Republicans to death. They probably so broke. That's why they doing all this fundraising. And can you imagine Trump, every fundraiser, he sees 100 million. He sees 50 million. He's got Elon Musk talking about putting in $500 million. That man is in heaven. Whether he win, lose, or draw, I bet you his pockets are fat by the time this election's over with. And if I'm wrong, call me out on it. Thank you.
CD Witherspoon.
The ratio in offices around the country.
Let's go to CD Witherspoon. CD, you've been quiet.
I just think that, again, the type of politics that this man subscribes to makes it very, very difficult to know how authentic these attempts are. Do I think that it's possible that someone would attempt to assassinate him? I point to 1972 with the assassination attempt of George Wallace. So certainly when you put yourself in that type of position, unfortunately, there are some people who lack the ability to be able to deal with just political disagreement in a professional way. And there are people that would resort to this type of violence. But I do, again, think that he is so disingenuous, and I think he's so desperate at this particular time that it's very possible that this situation or the one before that could have, in fact, been manufactured. But what we have to do is, as a people, as a community, is stay razor thin focused on the issues that are important to us. We have to stay razor thin focused on healthcare, on the abortion issue, on housing issues, on community development, on the issues that affect our community the most. And we can't allow for anybody to turn us around. And we certainly cannot afford to have sympathy for Donald Trump at this particular time. We need to stay razor thin focused on our agenda and on the issues that are of importance to us, our community, and our growth and development.
Kamala Harris said, I have been briefed on reports of gunshots fired near former President Trump and his property in Florida, and I am glad he is safe. Violence has no place in America, Harris wrote on the social media platform X. Biden and Harris, both of whom are in Washington, D.C. with no public events today, will be kept updated by their team. Attorney General Merrick Garland has also been briefed, according to the Department of Justice spokesperson. Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, wrote on X later today that the former president is in good spirits. He said, I'm glad President Trump is safe. I spoke to him before the news was public, and he was amazing. He was amazingly in good spirits. I understand that JD was on some of the news shows today talking about Springfield, not about dogs, not about cats, but about geese. Did anyone hear that story?
Yes. Geese, supposedly trying to make it work. They did dogs, they did cats. Yeah, geese. Yeah, geese. And the president said geese. He said ducks too.
Yeah, he said ducks.
It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
Agreed. Absolutely absurd.
It's racist. We should all be insulted by it. Our Haitian brothers, that's us. We're Haitians. We're Africans. We're black. That's us.
And you know, it's an indictment upon our entire society to go to the places that Donald J. Trump has taken this political conversation. It's an indictment upon our entire society. And I would submit to you that it's not just Donald J. Trump that's the problem. The very fact that conversations are allowed to go into the direction that he goes into is even a bigger issue, because he subscribes to a constituency that empowers him to do the type of things and to say the type of things and to incite the type of things that he incites. He has the very fact that he is able to continue to do what he does suggests to us that he has a constituency, he has a grouping, he has a following that gives him the platform to do what he does.
There's a mastermind behind them. It's a young guy by the name of Stephen Miller. He's one of them. That guy, Stephen Miller, is sinister. He's just as bad as JD, because JD has something to do with that 2025 thing. And JD is just as weird. I'm going to use the term that they've been using. He's just as weird as they come. I mean, absolutely weird.
Okay, and I would like to say for everybody on this platform here, house niggas like Kanye West out there promoting this agenda, getting the black people to see where, oh, this is our white savior. He ought to be ashamed. He ought to be shaming himself.
Hey, let's also call out the ones that try to go halfway. I'm not going to give Stephen A. Smith a break on this. Mm-hmm. I'm also not going to give Chucky the God, Charlemagne. Not going to give him a break on it. Well, because they go so far into being these journalists that they go and step across and go get on Fox News just so that they, now nobody on the other side is going to come to the liberal side, and none of the biggest of the liberals will go to the Fox side, but they go over there just to keep themselves marketable. That means you got a price. That means that you can be bought, and you are bought. If you're working for the network, you're bought. If you're going off of your YouTube or your own platforms, that's one thing, but they're not. Both of them are tied to platforms that are tied to the top.
Well, look what they did to Don Lemon on X. When he started calling Elon Musk out on his own station, how fast did they get rid of him?
Gone.
More importantly, and I don't have anything against Jews. When I had my several legal actions, I had Jew attorneys. So to that end, when Kanye, and this shows you how racist this country is, and that is all people except most black people. When Kanye West went after the Jews, what did they do? His sponsors, they start pulling ass. Mm-hmm. So the point of it is, economically, that's what this political fight is about with the Roe versus Wade. And I totally get that, Robert. What they want to do with the Roe versus Wade is they want white people to keep pumping out baby so they can get the numbers up. So
well,
I
can't analysis with the people. Go ahead.
I can't agree with you more, because the fact of the matter is, whether we are an attorney or judge or a doctor or a teacher, whatever our profession is, whether we are a cafeteria worker or a construction worker, we are African American first. And who we are as a community impacts our experience while we do the work. So as professional as we become, we can't forget who we are when we do these type of jobs. Because if we forget who we are when we do these type of jobs, we forget about the blood, the sweat, and the tears that came before us, and the people that sacrificed their lives so that we can do what we do. So when we are elected to the United States Congress, we've got to remember that we are black first, and that we got to remember those black folk and those black districts that elected us to represent them. We can't forget about our cultural experience when we are elected to these positions. It's almost like if you're clergy and you go to an organization, or you get elected to public office, or you are in a position of authority, your faith principles go with you. Your blackness must go with you. Your unapologetic blackness must go with you when you go into these positions to be able to have a voice, because it's the constituencies where you come from. Oftentimes, the poor black people of districts who elect you to office, and our difficulty is some people forget that.
Yes, yes, I agree with you 100%.
And I'd also like to say what this movement is for a lot of closet white men who are supporting Trump, but in the closet, is economics with the politics. Now, Elon Musk, and I'm right now because I'm in a situation where I got to be very careful what I say about him because there's some things going on. But I go with union companies. And the reason for that is because when a black man, a black woman, Hispanic, Chinese, or other, but I'm gonna stick with black because I'm black. I'm gonna look after my folks. They look after their folks. I'm gonna look after my folks. Every legal action that I was in, Donnie, Robert, and Courtly, when I was in the union, me and the white boy made the same thing. But as soon as I transitioned over into management, I kept wondering how these white boys got the same job as me, got a summer house, a new house, a boat, a Mercedes-Benz.
Bonuses.
Huh?
Bonuses.
No, it's when big companies don't want these unions because and white women know this too. That's why they're getting on the bandwagon. They pay white women less money. White men in this country has dominated economics since the beginning of this company. And if we don't support our unions that support this black vice president to be president, we are going to see a downturn with union jobs where they're going to try to destroy the union, where they can pay that white boy more, and white boys can say what they want to say. Not all of them. Like I said, I got a couple of white friends, but most of them,
You sound like the opposite.
I sound like who?
The opposite. You know how they say, "Oh, I got a black friend."
Yeah. I got one or two white friends.
No, you don't.
But let me just say this as I wrap this part of it up. It has all to do with economics and white man being afraid that the black man, specifically the black man, will be making as much money or more than him because we work hard. We got to work 10 times harder than the white man. We can't call in sick and big. We have to do.
You can if you want to, but they might not let you go back to your desk when you come back.
But the point of it is, Donnie, it's all about economics. When you get the richest man in the world coming in and gonna back this man up, it's because look at his place. Look at his car making manufacturer in California. And as my thing resolved, I'm gonna have a full-blown discussion about what's going on out here with the union and the non-union. Now, do you think Elon has a union facility?
I doubt it.
I guarantee you he don't. And all I'm saying is, because once again, I missed some legal things that have something to do with why I'm so adamant about how I know how the white man think. The white man and his other white friend are scared right now. They think if this black woman get in the office, the playing field is going to get more level to the point where the white man going to feel, not going to feel, he feels intimidated. And, in this country, in this world, the black woman has been on the bottom of the totem pole of everything. The white man used to take our women and rape them and then send them back to us and have their white babies. And so, two things here. We have to start identifying these nigger gatekeepers, and that's what they are. House niggas who is watching
language, Doug.
I'm sorry. I get it. Hey, don't watch my show because y'all be like,
Doug, can I pivot off of that? I'm gonna keep it with us. Because I know I've been having some issues here lately. I've been spending a lot of time getting called into phone conversations because our brothers aren't as knowledgeable as they should be about things like government, about things like positions like an attorney general, what their responsibility actually is and was. There's a lot of brothers out there.
Are you talking about the apathy in Black America?
Absolutely. Well, the young brothers who are anti-Kamala because they feel that Kamala has had put a lot of Black people in jail. The maximum minimum issue where, many of us understand the fact that she was put in a position as the attorney general to uphold the law, but she didn't make the laws. The people who actually put those laws in place was every Black and white Democrat and Republican who voted for maximum minimums and put that in place. I myself thought it made sense because I'm like, if you put it like that, that should deter people from selling drugs at this level or at that level. But it wasn't a deterrent. And let's be honest about it. All of the Democrats that were senators and congressmen supported it. Most of the white folks supported it. Even on the Republican side, there was one man who didn't support it, but he was a freshman senator. That freshman senator had just come from off of working on the streets of Chicago, and he understood how things had gone on the streets in Chicago. His name was Barack Obama, and he was the one that didn't go for it. Everybody else went for it, and he said, no, you don't realize that these people are shut out. They're not getting opportunities financially, and they're going to have to. All they have sometimes is grandma selling drugs or grandma at least serving people out of the house and so on and so forth. But that wasn't Kamala. In California, she was the attorney general. If you listen to the other side, they say she was soft on crime, that she let X amount of people go. She gave this person another chance. She was letting Black guys get another chance. She was giving warnings, the same kind of warnings that Fonnie Willis gives down here to young Black men, giving them a chance and not putting them right up in jail. But what Black men have to understand and realize the position, this woman reached the position of attorney general. We had a Black man be that for the U.S., but this woman did it in California. She went on a path that puts her right now as the best person to be president in this country. She's a prosecutor. When she did that breakdown on Trump, all those things, and she stopped and said, I know Trump's type, that lets you know, step by step, everything she's done in her life, everything that's happened in her life has prepared her for this. And what we need to do is we need to stand behind her. Whenever you get them young brothers, pull them up, let them know. Tell them how you feel, but what you need to do is you tell them the truth. If they find out the truth, they'll say, oh, damn, okay, yeah, you're right. That's what I've been getting. I get about 60% of the brothers actually will look in the right direction. The other ones are just, they're not going to vote anyway. Them same brothers ain't going to vote anyway. It's just like those white folks. They got a lot to talk about, but they're not going to vote anyway. So that's all I want to see us do. Make sure we pull the brothers in, because a lot of brothers are openly speaking negatively about Kamala, even after this whole wave is gone. You got Stephen A. Smith saying, "Oh, she needs to talk. She needs to say that." That's some stuff that the Republicans had to say. She's working with that guy David Plouffe, who put Obama through. They going step by step by step by step. It's all making sense. Sit back. We don't need no black men coming out there barking what white conservatives would do or talk about.
I can't agree more with what he's articulated. I would submit to you that we have to deal with us, and we have to deal with our issues even before we speak on the presidency and on Kamala Harris. The fact of the matter is some of us have issues with women in leadership, with women in power.
Yes.
Some of us have issues that we need to deal with in relationship to us when we communicate in relationship to her candidacy for president of the United States. The fact of the matter is we cannot afford to be crabs in a barrel. And unfortunately, as a community, we have the tendency to do that and to hate on each other. And I think what we are experiencing is that happening. But it's happening on a national stage for the entire world to see. And what we found is other communities are able to prosper and are able to make successful strides because they're able to put behind them issues that they have with each other that don't have nothing to do with their advancement, their political growth, their community development and upliftment. And we've got to do that. This young lady, she has been an attorney general. She's been a United States senator. She's been vice president of the United States. And now she's running for president of the United States. She's probably based upon her experience alone, she's probably one of the most experienced candidates for president of the United States we've ever had. She is certainly most immensely more qualified than Donald J. Trump. And we've got to stay focused on what we're fighting for. We've got to stay focused on what her candidacy means to a generation, what it means to black women, what it means to minorities as a whole, people of color. We've got to stay focused and fixated on the issues that are in front of us as opposed to elementary issues that we need to deal with and sit down with a therapist to address. And some of us do have these issues of women in power, women in leadership, issues with black women in particular. We've got to deal with those issues, but we've got to deal with that sitting down with a licensed therapist. And we've got to put that stuff aside and deal with
all the brothers who agreed with all the brothers who agreed with the childless cat lady. A woman or a man doesn't have to have children to care about the future of our people. It doesn't require that. Many childless people take care of more people than people who got kids, who some of them don't even take care of their own kids. My sister, childless, but she's taking care of her husband's daughter. I have cousins that don't have kids, but they take care of a whole lot of people's kids. And they some intelligent sisters and some progressive sisters doing a whole lot in this world. So we got that whole mentality, we got to check ourselves. We done picked up so many negative things from the white man, excuse me for putting it that way, but we done picked up so much out of white Christian nationalism because that's what put it on us.
Pablo Freire,
check ourselves.
Pablo Freire indicated adopting the traits of the oppressor. And that's exactly what we are experiencing today, because there are some people who are black folk who are being more critical than her than other people are. And the fact of the matter is, if we just look at credentials alone, I mentioned her being Attorney General, U.S. Senator, and Vice President, but before then she worked, she was connected to Willie Brown, going all the way back years and years and years. She is probably more experienced than several of the candidates that we've had for the U.S. presidency. whatever our issues are with women or whatever the situation is, like you indicated, we got to check us. And the accountability piece is not to sit at the table with people who have these type of views that have nothing to do with the political landscape. And we've got to check our family members. We've got to check our friends. We've got to check people in discussions that appear private that have public impact, because these people go to the polls and they take their views and their opinions, no matter how bad they are, with them.
Yeah. And I'd like to piggyback off of that. We have got to stop being afraid of people who look like us on this stage. In my neighborhood, in my mother's neighborhood, and all across Oakland, East Oakland, wherever I go, if I see brothers hanging out on the corner, I don't run to the white man's part of town. I go up and say, "Hey, how you young brothers doing?" They call me OG.
Yep, or Unc. And they call me Unc.
Oh yeah, well they call one of them, a couple of them call me Unc, but most of them call me OG. And one of the things that I noticed that they respect in me was my ability to go up and see a young black man, and I can see myself. When we stop being afraid of ourselves, we can start growing more as a people. You don't see white people being afraid of a bunch of white kids hanging out at the store. You don't see Chinese people being afraid of a bunch of Chinese kids hanging out on the store, Mexicans, etc. We have got to do that first. Second, and more important, we've got to start teaching these young kids, look, you'll spend a Friday night, Saturday night at the concert or at the club. Why don't you spend a Monday through Friday night coming to a Democratic Party and understanding where these tens of millions of dollars are going to, why the white neighborhood, the parks are clean, the play structures are not broken and work. If we aren't at the table, we're on the menu. If we're not at the, and when I'm down there talking to these young brothers, I explained that to them. I said, the reason why your council person don't vote, doesn't take care of your community, and they take care of the white community, because then white folks will vote their butts out of office. And I've worked with several campaigns in the Bay Area here. Let me be clear here. They have a map that has each house that says how many votes come out of that house and the names. When you go down to the flatland, when you go down to the flatland, you see tons of no vote, no vote, no vote. But you pull your butt up to the white man community, and the Mexicans are catching on too. Chinese are catching on too. They vote in blocks. So if we want to start addressing where it doesn't get out of control, where Donald Trump doesn't get in, and neighborhoods get good police services, clean streets, garbage picked up, we have to start teaching our young people that if you don't vote, don't complain.
Right. If you don't vote, you ain't got no opinion. Your opinion don't count.
You on the menu.
Your opinion just don't count. After Donnie mentioned the term apathy, and that is an issue, apathy, because some of the kids that I talk to are college graduated, in their 30s, in their late 20s, friends of my sons that I'm trying to get their heads together about why they should be voting, what's going on. And then they're smart enough to say, do you understand the Electoral College? And I say, hell yeah, I understand the Electoral College. That's some bullshit. I'm like, yeah, but all it is a game. So you got to learn how to play the game. And you got to position yourself in and around the game. And there's a way, because that thing is set up like that for a reason. You know, we've won at that before. If you find out that the game says you can't throw curveballs, every time you throw a curveball, you're going to automatically be punished, then don't throw no curveballs. If it says you got to bounce the ball on the ground before you hit it like cricket, that's what you got to do. Bounce the ball on the ground before you hit it like cricket. It's just a game. All you got to do is master the game. If you don't understand what's going on, if you aren't knowledgeable of what's going on, if you don't know why you should be voting, that's the problem.
I thought you were going to say ask somebody.
Oh, yeah, you can ask somebody, definitely. Absolutely, ask somebody.
You know, Donnie, I interject, and I think of the late Senator Clarence Michael Mitchell III of Baltimore, and we called him the Bear. And I think of a congressman by the name of Kwesi Mfume. And Kwesi Mfume ran for public office in Baltimore City, ran for the city council. And when he ran for the city council, he indicated that he would not run again if he lost the election. And the night before the election, the late Senator Clarence Michael Mitchell III grabbed folk from a bar and was able to engage those people so much so that he was able to take those folk from the bar to the polls. It's critical and of great importance.
And he won by six votes.
Correct. He won by 6 votes. It's critical and of great importance for us when we get into positions of influence, whether we are elected or not. Because somebody named Donnie Glover told me years and years and years ago that elections don't make leaders. So regardless of what position you're in, to remember where you came from. And when you remember where you come from, you reach down and reach up and you take the people with you. And sometimes you have to mobilize those people and take them to the polls. And once they trust you and you have that type of earned trust and people have faith in you, people will go simply because you go. And we've got to grab those folk and take them to the polls based upon the trust and the faith that they have in us. Those folk went with Clarence Michael Mitchell III because they believed in him. They may not have known who the political candidate was, but they believed in him and in his leadership and his ability to mobilize. So we've got to get back to the grassroots type of politics that's connected to the feeling, to the vibing. I vibe with you, so I'm going to go with you because you're going. If you lead, I will follow.
I'm reminded that when Barack Obama was first elected in 2008, there were lines out the door at 7 a.m. in the blackest of neighborhoods here in Baltimore. I want to do something a little different as we close out this hour. I want to go around the horn and I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and I want you to give your final comments. So we started with the elder. So CD, I'd like you to tell us a little bit about yourself and to give your final comment. And then we'll go to Robert and then we'll end off with the elder on the show. How old are you, Doug? You're muted.
61.
59. Well, Robert, you 61?
61.
Okay, well, okay, so we'll go to CD, then to Doug, and we'll let Robert give the final thought.
Thank you, Donnie, for the opportunity again, and thank you, Brother Doug and Brother Robert, for allowing me to participate in this dialogue. I'm Courtly. I go by CD. I come from Baltimore. I was born and raised here. I was raised by a single parent. My mother left this place in 2019, but she raised me by herself as a single parent, and I will never, ever, ever forget the sacrifices that she made for us. I remember her turning down her plate so that I could eat. And so that's what I come from. I was born on Bradish Avenue in West Baltimore, so I am a student of Baltimore. I had the occasion to meet somebody named Donnie Glover. I had to have been 19 years old because I wanted to be involved in the community here in Baltimore City. Raynard Johnson was lynched in Kokomo, Mississippi. And I went to Radio 1 and I said, I want to be engaged. I want to be involved because I was irate about what happened to Raynard Johnson. But Donnie was able to channel me and focus me and said to me, what are you going to do about that rage. And I was able to begin to start writing for BeMoreNews.com. I also began to write for 2 newspaper publications that he had. I also wrote for the Afro-American newspaper and the Baltimore Times. So whatever God has done for me, I'm immensely grateful. And I'm immensely grateful for mentors and people that poured into me, like Donald Morton Glover. I remember I was there when his father died, and I was there when his daughter was born. To me, he's like a big brother and a friend. And I recognize it's all about relationships. Reverend Dr. P.M. Smith said, if it ain't about relationship, it ain't about nothing. So I have nothing but love for you, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, CD. You forgot to mention that you're also a minister.
Yes, sir.
Let's go out to Oakland, California. Doug is on these airwaves every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. East Coast time. Special thank you to his producer lady, super producer, his cousin Kim. And I long to see his other cousin, Dr. Ashley. Doug, let's hear your final thoughts. Tell us about yourself and any final thoughts on today's show.
Donnie, it's been an honor. It's been a true honor working with you over the last 3 years. As you know, I met you through a very powerful young lady named Tammy Willis, who is now a national counselor for NID, a HUD-approved program that has 35 offices across the country and are giving up to $150,000. And I met her through you. And I just want to say, if they don't give the money out, they got to give it back to HUD. So if you live in America, they got money for you to put a down payment on the house. To that end, I've been living in Oakland for 61 years. I had my own business, worked for some billion-dollar companies, got into construction and government contracts, had several battles with billion-dollar companies, which I won, because my dad, and he passed away 10 years ago, my dad always told me, look a white man in the eye. Don't look down, because that makes him think you're scared. That has been the catalyst for me to never back down. Whether you got $1 or $1 billion, if you throw a punch, if you try to do something on me, I'm going to take you down. That's what I do out here in California. I'm an Alameda County Democratic Central Committee member. I'm a California Democratic delegate. I should have been a DNC, but because of a work-related injury, I couldn't make it this year, which I was very disheartened because I missed a historic moment. And the people who helped me miss it will be hearing from me real soon. In addition, I proudly wear my pin that says I am a Community Policing Advisory Board member for the city of Oakland, helping to address the crimes and issues. I'm saying all that to say this, and I'm also an executive on the Oakland East Bay Democratic Club, and I track labor and economic development in the city of Oakland and in the county, making sure the Black brothers and sisters have a fair share at the table. But I say all that to say this: we have got to start getting our people involved. That's how these Trump people won the last election, because we were asleep. They got woke and we went to sleep after Barack Obama. So I'm praying that you continue to subscribe to blackusa.news. And I also want to say one last thing. A brother with the African American Sports and Entertainment Group just bought the Oakland Coliseum, ranked number 4th in the nation for its transportation, airplane, right down the street, plane, highway, bus, train. Brother's name is Ray Bobbitt. He just informed me that once he gets his, they put $225 million down on the Coliseum. They're putting over billions of, several billions of dollars to turn it into a Black-owned Coliseum and commercial and retail center, which is going to revive East Oakland. And those are the types of things we need to get our Black people into and support them. support them. There was a group of people, including the A's owner, who, when the Coliseum had been sitting for 10 years, not doing anything to it. This brother came in, and as soon as the black man came in to try to purchase the Coliseum, all these other white billionaires were trying to outdo him. And I'm proud to say I was at every political and city event telling them, if you don't get this brother this Coliseum, if you don't fight for him, I'm going to vote your butts out. So thank you for listening to me. And Donnie, it's been an honor. And I'm going to continue to represent our blackusa.news. And my brother Ray, Bobby told me once he get this Coliseum built, he's going to let us have a podcast in there doing live NFL and WNBA podcast show, which I can't wait because I'm going to be doing some heavy advertising.
Awesome.
Yeah, but these are the types of economic things that we need to do, and we can't do them if we politically dumb. Thank you.
We have to put a plug in for Kathy Adams.
She's the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce president. Yes, she is.
Because she was a part of coordinating your show. So special thank you to Kathy Adams. During COVID, Robert, she raised over $10 million for businesses in Oakland. She raised $10 million to give to them. And I found that to be
it was
excellent.
It was $1 million.
$1 million?
It was $1 million.
Okay, so she raised $1 million, and she was able to distribute that to businesses who needed it. Okay,
and Tammy Willis, Tammy Willis too. Her and Tammy are the two authors behind that.
Okay, so thank you, Doug. And Doug is our home run hitter on the network. In any of his shows are liable to touch over 300 people at one time on one of the venues. We air on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. My Morehouse brother, Robert Scott, son,
how you doing,
CD,
Donnie?
son of a goon squad member, CD.
What?
So you're gonna make me go there? Let me go ahead.
Is his man?
Let me go there. Let me go there.
Pat Scott.
So it's been
yes,
a long.
I'm familiar. Really,
this has been a long journey.
Let me read that.
This has been a long journey, especially for Donnie and I. Donnie and I go back to high school, actually, Poly, and even Morehouse. So we have those two things in common. And I'm from Baltimore, you know, just like Donnie. And like Donnie mentioned, I grew up on the campus of Morgan State University. My father was the head of the art department there. And he was the youngest member of the Goon Squad. It was a group of civil rights leaders that desegregated all the services and facilities in the state of Maryland. It started with, let me give you a little history, young brother. I guess I can say that, yeah. Okay, so it started with Gwynn Oak Park. Gwynn Oak Park, they desegregated it right before the hurricane took it out. So I actually had a chance to go as a child. But I grew up in Baltimore, incredible experience, come from the foot of some intelligent brothers, man. Reverend Wendell Phillips, Reverend Vernon Dobson, those churches, man, as a kid, I walked through those churches a lot, and they were like my safe houses. My father used to tell me, if you're out on the street or anything happens, I mean, I could go into one of several churches and they would know who I was, and that was one of the best experiences, growing up there in Baltimore. But Baltimore brought me down here to Morehouse, and I learned a whole lot. Baltimore taught me how to be an African American. Morehouse taught me that I was an African. I'm a Pan-Africanist, plain and simple. That's me today. I'm a Pan-Africanist. I produce at a TV network now. We just moved into a warehouse, Donnie. We just moved into our new warehouse, TST Network.
Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. We actually got together and did something for Kamala. We'll talk about that. But but now I want to move more into the things that interest me the most. So the last thing that I did, the last show that I produced was the show on Mukasa, Willie Ricks, and Mukasa. He's had a big impact on my life and on Donnie's life. This brother introduced me to the All African People's Revolutionary Party, and I became a member, and I went through work study, and I read and I learned about Egypt. I learned about the Christian story being a true African story. I learned about the ecumenical conferences that changed the scriptures in the Bible to what they are today. That's the beginning of the white Christian nationalism. When they talk about the Nicene Council and things like that, that's real stuff. That's real stuff. And it all affects us today, all the way to today. We can talk about that later on, but that's the perspective, that I come from. I don't need to rattle on any further than that, but I'm caretaking for my father, and he's still around. He's still in Baltimore and in Florida, and I'm also putting together right now a coffee table book of pictures that my father was a photographer. He was an artist and he was a photographer. So he chronicled the whole time he was there with them. So I'm sitting there looking at these pictures of Vernon Dobson as a young man fishing, in Baltimore, deep sea fishing off the coast of Baltimore. Reverend Phillips laying back and they playing tricks on him and those kind of things. But we're putting together a coffee table book about the Goon Squad. And then I've been going through my father's pile of yellow notes that he's written over the years. It's overwhelming, trust me. And dealing with his, his illness.
If I may, I wanted to share with you that of all the members of the Goon Squad, your dad was
I'm getting a mute. I can't hear the brother.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can't. I wonder if it's my phone.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Donnie, can you hear me?
I see my battery about to die. But that's not it. For some reason, I can't hear you. Let me see if there's something.
What I wanted to say, though, was of all the members.
I hope I didn't take myself out. Mike? Nope, I'm on.
You can't hear me, Donnie?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you, but I know it's something positive. Can you guys hear me at all?
Hold on, Robert.
Shake your head if you can hear me.
I want you to stop. Go ahead, CD.
From my generation's perspective, I was not able to connect with the Goon Squad as a grouping. I was around when Pastor Dobson, before he retired from Union Baptist Church, I was able to see him and hear him and be inspired by him. And I truly was. But
I can't hear you guys.
Go ahead, CD. He froze up. Well, that looks like it's going to be all we have for tonight. It's good to see Philosophies of Wealth and also the Center for Nonprofit and Community Development. When we find a man who's ascended heights beyond ourselves, who has a broader range of vision than we, a sky with more stars in it than we have in ours, we may know that he has worked harder, better, more wiser than we. He was awake while we slept. He was busy while we were idle. He was wisely improving his talents while we were wasting ours. Doug, I guess you can still hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Thank you for joining us tonight. Our prayers go out to this nation. We are glad that the president did not get assassinated, and there's more to come. Good evening, world.